Hello children. So this is Vijaya signing in back. So we have completed 5 units by now. Am I right? 6 lessons and 5 poems if I am not wrong. Because the Sound of Music has got 2 parts in it. Am I right children? Is everything clear by now? So exactly half of the portion we have already completed. So shall we move on with 6th unit today? Any cases that what is the lesson which is going to make our 6th unit to be started? Fine. Before that I shall just show you one quotation on the small board. Please look at it. It's mentioned as dream, 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 and then convert your dreams into thoughts and then take your thoughts into action. This is what this board means. Is everybody clear? So it is dream, 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 and then convert your dreams into thoughts and take your thoughts and convert them into actions. As soon as you hear this, whose name is striking to your mind? Who might have said this? As soon as you hear the word dream itself, no, somebody's name, a great visionary, a great personality strikes to your mind. Who is that? Yes, most of you might be knowing it. So, here we have My Childhood, that is lesson number 6, taken from the extract of an autobiography called Wings of Fire. Is everybody clear? I just mentioned it's an extract from an autobiography that's called Wings of Fire, but whose autobiography it is, I did not tell you, because the answer is same for the one who made this quotation and also whose autobiography is called Wings of Fire. So yes, it's none other than the great Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, our former President of India. So shall we go about children? So all of you please get ready with your ebooks and also running notes. It's page number 68. Before you read, they just have given one activity. Please go ahead with the activity. Can you think of any scientists who have also been statesmen? There is a word children used, statesman. Statesman, it doesn't it's not a very difficult word what you don't understand something. Statesman is nothing but one who is very talented, highly skilled, or the one who has got a lot of experience, and then might be he is very skilled in politics, a very political leader. For example, very recent days we have completed a lesson about Albert Einstein. So definitely even Albert Einstein can also be called as a statesman. Am I right children? Because yes, he was a skilled scientist, he was a skilled physicist, yes, and of course he was very well experienced, and also he was into politics also. Similarly, do you know somebody who is also from India? Yes, of course, that is none other than Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So APJ Abdul Kalam, whose projects in space, defense and nuclear technology guided India into the 21st century, became our 11th president in 2002. If somebody questions you, APJ Abdul Kalam, when did he work as our president of India? What was the duration? When was he made as Indian president? So it was in 2002. He was our president. He was into defense, space and also nuclear technology. That is the reason he is named as. Do you know what was he called as? There is a title given to him. He is called as a missile man. Please make a note of it in your running notes children. He was called as a missile man. So in his autobiography, so he has written his own autobiography called Wings of Fire. He speaks of his childhood. In one particular part of his autobiography, he spoke about his childhood. He described about his childhood days. Well, like when he was in schooling and how did he go to school and how was he brought up by his parents. How was the environment there? How was the society there? Let's all go about it. So here we go with the first paragraph children. I was born into a middle class. So as I said, it is an autobiography. So Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, he is talking to us all with the help of his own autobiography. So you will find the whole of content in first person language because Abdul Kalam ji is talking to all of us here. I was born into a middle class Tamil family. So he belonged to Tamil family. Took birth in one of the middle class families of Tamil society. In the island town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras state. So he took birth in a Tamil family, and the place was an island where 4 sides he had water in the town of Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram is one of the very very popular pilgrim centers of Lord Shiva also. Rameshwaram, and also there you find Sri Rama temple also, very famous, right children? And then erstwhile Madras state. Erstwhile is nothing but like previously it was called as Madras and now it is called as Chennai, as you all know it. So my father Jainulabdin, so Abdul Kalam's father's name was Jainulabdin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. So Abdul Kalam's father was neither very educated nor even very wealthy also. That's the reason they mentioned that he belonged to a middle class family. Despite these disadvantages, what are the disadvantages he spoke just now? He was not educated and he was not wealthy. Who was not wealthy? It was APJ Abdul Kalam's father. So despite of this, so being not wealthy, being not educated, he possessed great innate wisdom. So they say that like wealth or even education has nothing to do with one's attitude and the personality. We keep saying that, isn't it children? The same thing is taught here again and it is proved here. APJ Abdul Kalam's father wasn't educated and also he was not very wealthy. But even then, there was an innate wisdom. So by birth we get some of the skills, children. By birth God blesses us with something. So similarly, even there is a lot of wisdom gifted by the God to Abdul Kalam's father. So it was innate, in that is inborn. And a true generosity of spirit. Generosity is being very kind to the society and the people around, having lot of helping nature, having lot of cooperative nature, the one who keeps extending their support to the others when they are in need. So all these kinds of things, when they are put together, we can call the person as a generous person. It's a generosity. The quality of the person which is emphasizing here is generosity of spirit. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother. So he had an ideal helpmate, very right, suitable companion was his wife, that is APJ Abdul Kalam's mother, Ashi Amma. So what was APJ Abdul Kalam's mother's name? Ashi Amma. Father's name was Jainulabdin. Please make a note of it, children. Abdul Kalam's mother's name is Ashi Amma, sorry. Then father's name is Jainulabdin, right children? Then I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day. So by this sentence, children, you will understand what sort of a lady was Ashi Amma. He says, Abdul Kalam says that I really don't remember the number of the people who used to visit our place to have their dine. This is have their food. So it means that though they belong to a very middle class family, they used to feed many people daily at their home. But I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. But he states that not only his family but also the outsiders as they eat. So he's comparing the number. The number of the outsiders is more than the number of the family members who eat daily at home. Which tells us that even Ashi Amma also was so generous and kind to feed the people who had no food, and those people, the outsiders, were very good in number, more than the number of their own family members. I was one of many children. So now he is giving the description about his family. How many children were there in his family? So I was one of many children. So there were many siblings of mine. A short boy with rather undistinguished looks. So now he is describing himself when he was very young boy, a school going boy. He says himself that a short boy of height. Now he is telling about his height. He was short enough and undistinguished look. Undistinguished looks in the sense he never used to look so attractive, and nobody used to find him interesting also. So he was not attractive, and he wasn't even found to be interesting by the others. He is calling himself so. Born to a tall and handsome parents, but he calls his own parents saying that they are so tall and handsome, like pretty beautiful Ashi Amma, and also Jainulabdin was used to be handsome. We lived in our ancestral house. Where did they live, children? they used to live in the ancestral house. Ancestral house is the house which has been carried from generation to generation. So maybe the house belonged to his great grandfather, then the house was used by his grandfather, then from him to like his father, then it's the same way Abdul Kalam. So it was an ancestral house, hereditary, like as they are the legal heirs, so they will get the house to be used the same way. The house was built in the middle of the 19th century. So when was the house constructed? It was in the middle of the 19th century. It was a fairly large pakka house. So it was not a kacha house. It was a pakka house. It was constructed pretty well in those days. Made of limestone and brick. Yes, it was a like pakka construction made with limestone and brick. On the masked street of Rameshwaram. So he is giving the very landmark of his place, which is like a very in the township of Rameshwaram. There is a mask lane called. My austere father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. So he says that my austere, in the sense his father who is very humble and simple, who would like to live his life so humble without any comforts or luxuries. Like he says that he would like to avoid all the inessential comforts. Like you all know, children, our needs and our desires, when we speak about, first comes his necessity, then comes his comfort, and then comes his the luxury. So as they belong to the middle class, not lower middle class, but even then, his father never used to give priority and preference for the comforts and luxuries, to let his children learn about the necessities. It does mean that he had given all the necessary things, whatever his children needed to get it. He provided all. But he wasn't that, he was not fond of letting his children go ahead with comforts and luxuries, because they come under the inessential. They are not needed. However, all medicines or clothes, food were provided for in terms of their necessities. So as I said, necessities were provided. So of course food comes under the same thing. Medicines, clothes, shelter, and even schooling, offering education to them, everything he had been provided. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood. Then he says that, of course, as I was provided with what are all the things needed for me, so I can call my life as secure childhood life, both materially and emotionally. Materially in the sense whatever been externally provided, emotionally is in the sense like the love and affection what was being given or provided from his parents' side. So he was very secure. He calls his childhood very secure because he was provided with both materially and also emotionally. Let's move on to third paragraph, children. So it was in the 1939. Now he is describing about 1939. The Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was 8 years old. So he was 8 years old. So when did he born, children? 8 years ago. When he was 8 years old, World War broke in. He said that. So when did he born? So it's 1931. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. So there was a sudden demand for tamarind. Tamarind, you all know it, children? Imli. Tamarind, which we use it for making all our Indian recipes, mostly to get the sour taste for the Indian dishes, right? So there was a sudden demand for the seeds of tamarind erupted in the market. So I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provisional shop. So his duty was to collect the tamarind seeds from different places and then take them to the provisional shop on Mask Street. So the same street where he used to reside, where his house was, in the same street he used to go to the provisional shop and he used to sell all the tamarind seeds what he used to collect it. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. So how much he was paid for the whole of collection of tamarind seeds what he used to give it in the provisional stores, children? He was paid 1 anna. You all know it. 4 anna, 8 anna, you all might have learned. 8 anna is 50 paise, 4 anna is 25 paise. Similarly, he was paid 1 anna. 1 anna itself is calling as princely amount. That's good amount, good amount. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines in Dinamani. So his brother-in-law, in the sense his cousin here, his cousin, maybe mama's son or maybe uncle's son or maybe auntie's son, whoever it is, but yeah, they haven't given. So Abdul Kalam's cousin used to tell him all the stories about the World War, which used to read in one of the newspapers, Tamil newspapers called Dinamani. It is a daily newspaper, Dinamani. He used to read. Our area being isolated was completely unaffected by the war. So during the World War, though he was not directly affected, but he used to get the stories with the help of his cousin. We have learnt already. So he says that as a mass clan, and that too he was residing in an island town, they have clearly mentioned. So they were not, their life was not directly affected with the war. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces and something like a state of emergency was declared. But soon, when World War takes place, part of some countries go to one part and other countries go to another part. So allies used to part. Allies is nothing but it's a combination of many countries when they come together. All the friend countries to one side, other countries to another side, kind of. The allies will be formed. You might have learned this in your social sciences also. So they were all forced to go with the allies. The first casualty came in the form of the suspension of the train halt at Rameshwaram station. Till now, APJ Abdul Kalam says that they were not directly affected, but now they had to face the effect of the World War. They have banned the landing, stopping of the train, halting of the train in Rameshwaram railway station. So there used to be a train which used to go via Rameshwaram, so which wasn't stopping at Rameshwaram as an effect of World War II. The newspapers now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkoti. Please underline these two words. Rameshwaram and Dhanushkoti, it's a belt. It is a belt of path. So as the train used to halt before, and all the newspaper bundles used to be taken and they used to be distributed. Now as the train is not stopping, not halting there, so the bundles used to be thrown onto the platform of Rameshwaram. That forced my cousin Samsuddin. So there is another cousin he had, that is Samsuddin, who distributed newspaper in Rameshwaram. So Samsuddin used to distribute the papers in Rameshwaram town by moving to house to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, and as if naturally I filled the slot. So he was wanting a helping hand which can really help him to distribute the papers to all the people around. Then who had helped him? Samsuddin. It was none other than APJ Abdul Kalam had distributed the papers. He worked even as a newspaper distributing boy also. Samsuddin did not help me earn my first wages, but yes, he has shown me the way. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. So he says that after 50 years of age also, for the first time when I started distributing the papers, being a company of my cousin Samsuddin, as I earned my first wages, first income, the way I felt immense happiness, I can never forget. So he was recollecting his memories after 50 years of time, half a century after 50 years of time, that yes, it was my first earning. So by this we have completed third paragraph, children, and we shall go further in the next session. So first three paragraphs, they give us the description about in which family did he born, and what was the background of his mother and father, and what did he do, and what was the effect of the World War II on his life when he was a child. So let's continue and let's meet again in the next session, children. This is Vijaya signing off. Bye bye.